Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for joining us here on AFR, and we're here every day, but we're here with this show Monday through Friday from 10 o'clock, 10:05 technically, to 11:30, and we talk to you about the current events going on in our country and in our world, and hopefully we try to give you a biblical worldview on such issues as they apply. Not everything is, not everything is like that way, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, so joining me in studio today is Wesley. I'm adjusting my chair Wildmon.
Listen,
Did you ever get it adjusted?
I do understand what you're saying.
You
I just don't
understand what I'm saying?
understand why my chair's not working.
Well,
okay?
I'm sitting here watching you fix your chair. Are you going to be able to get it worked out?
I'm about to break it.
Oh, well.
Out of frustration.
You know, frustration and anger, they can turn into sin.
They can.
You understand?
It costs you too, right?
Yeah, it can cost you.
So save it for something other than a chair.
Yes, something more important, like, I don't know, college football or an error that cost you a youth baseball league game.
Yeah.
Things that really matter in life.
Really add
That's
up.
what you
That's
need
right.
to save your anger for.
That's what we'll do.
All right, Chris Woodward's here with the chair adjusted.
Yes, I have it on the highest setting because I need it.
And in studio with us is Tony Vitagliano. Tony, good morning, brother.
Good morning. Good morning. It could be righteous anger that Wesley had at his chair, that which is,
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it is. I appreciate you, Tony. Tony's a good
I'm
friend.
trying to play cover for you.
And Tony
Just
does
don't
a good
flip
job.
this table.
I think
He
righteous
covers for
anger
me.
in adjusting chair is a stretch, Tony. I would agree with
But
you
I
there.
do
Okay, now
appreciate
hold
that.
on. Now we got another fella here joining us here, Ray Pritchard from Florida. Good morning, Ray.
Hey, good morning, Tim. Hello from sunny Central Florida.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to get
Thanks,
tired of you
appreciate
saying
that.
that every time you're on for us during the winter months.
You know what could happen if we get tired of it and you know that we don't want to hear it, you could just set up your office outside, your studio there.
And then really
right.
flaunt
and then
it,
not
huh?
even say anything. Just
Don't say
let the
anything.
background say.
Let rain. The sun and the wind and yeah, it's pretty nice here right now.
Especially at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. Well, we're hanging on here. It's 64 here in Tupelo, and so much of the South still hanging on to a little bit of warm weather before we hit December, January, and February. Well, a lot to talk about today on the program. Ray, give us a good word from the Bible, if you would. Start us.
Well, here we are 1 week before Thanksgiving, and for some people, a wonderful time of the year. I got a lot of friends, Tim, who are coming into Thanksgiving with mixed feelings. It's been a hard year, particularly on the health front for so many people I know. I'm thinking about what the Bible says. Paul says, I've learned to have a lot. I've learned to have a little. I'm okay either way. I have learned to be content, whatever my circumstances. I think the most important part of that verse, that by the way is Philippians chapter 4, is I have learned. Contentment is, as the Puritan writer Jeremy Burroughs put it, it's the rare jewel of Christian contentment. Paul said in 1 Timothy 6 that godliness with contentment is great gain. It's a good thing to be godly, but it's something much better if, as you are growing in the Lord, God has given you the grace of contentment, which I simply define as being glad with where you are and what you are and with what God has given you. So, Tim, a little story. We have a young grandson who is 3 years old, 3 going on 30, I think. His name is Noah. He is full of life. He has great vocabulary, talks all the time. So he was over at our house when we were still in Kansas. It was about 2 weeks ago. He was over at our house, and Marlene had made a cake for for Knox and Violet and Noah. And it was time to serve the cake. And Marlene cut a piece of the cake, and it was just normal size, gave it to Noah, and he wrinkled up his nose and said, "Oh, I wanted a big piece." And Marlene smiled and looked at him and said, "Noah, this is a big piece." He looked at it, wrinkled up his nose, and then he said, "Okay, I guess I'll call it a big piece." And then he ate it. You know what? There's a tremendous lesson there. So much of contentment is our perspective, is the way we look at life. Well, God bless a 3-year-old boy who's learned to look at something that may not be exactly what he wanted and said, "Okay, I'm going to call it a big piece anyway." Reminds me of what Solomon said in Proverbs 17:1, "Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife." That little comparison there's just inviting us to understand, no matter where you are, as the saying goes, well, things could be worse. It's better to live in quietness and peace, even though you don't have a great feast, than to be in a house with a lot of money and a big meal and people arguing around the Thanksgiving table. So let me say this, and then I'll finish. Charles Spurgeon said, if you are not content with what you have, you wouldn't be content if it were doubled. Oh, how true that is. Contentment is a choice. It's a constant moment-by-moment choice to believe that God loves us, that he has our best interests at heart, that we have in this moment exactly what he wants us to have. When we need more, whatever that more is, when we need more, he'll give it to us. But my friends, as we come up to Thanksgiving, we have every reason to praise and be thankful to God. Let everything that has breath praise the Lord. So if you're breathing today, my friends, breathe out a prayer of thanksgiving to God. Contentment is a great blessing, and life is miserable if you don't have it, and much better if you do. So when you look at what is given you, let's call it a big piece and be content and give thanks to God.
Amen. Amen. As I said, growing up in the Methodist Church, may the Lord add his blessing to the reading of his word.
Amen.
In this case, to raise
Devotion
there. What? By the way, if somebody wanted to read that themselves, where were you getting this from? I know there's a lot of verses in the Bible about what you do.
That Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 and 12, and then 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 6 and 7, and then Proverbs 17, verse 1.
Okay. Amen, brother. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio, where we're content.
That's right.
Until we're not.
Till your chair doesn't work.
Till your chair doesn't work. Oh, me. The human condition, right?
Now, when his grandson gets to be an adult, he'll tell people that the piece is a small piece of cake, right? Just to make yourself feel better. That's where things switch up. No, this is a small piece, not a big piece.
It's all a matter of perspective, right?
All a matter of perspective. Amen. All right. So much to get to. First thing I wanted to talk about, we have had some of our websites down here at American Family Association, and we learned, Tony, that this is a big deal. Now, I think our websites are back up now, but as of an hour ago, we weren't. And there's a big internet issue going on around the globe right now. Is that right?
It actually has, as of now, has been resolved. So Cloudflare is a net service provider globally. They have some big names that they host for.
Right.
So X, ChatGPT, Canva, Spotify. A lot of big services were down this morning as of around 6:30. Central Time. They went down, so they had an issue on their internal services. They said it was caused by a massive CPU spike in their internal services.
That's happened to me.
Yeah.
That's happened to me, brother.
You don't want something you ate.
When I give my kids too much sugar, they get a massive CPU spike. No, so basically something went wrong in their internal systems. They said it was suspicious. I don't know what that means. Hopefully their report will give more information about it. But yeah, we were down. All of our external sites and our apps were down up until recently, I guess.
Dad noticed right away.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first on
I
it.
just click, click, click.
Click.
I'm watching 24/7
this
on
is-
this
yeah.
kind of. Let me ask you this. I don't want to get too wonky here because we will bore people and they would change the channel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we need to keep this.
I'll be your meter here. I'll let you know.
Please let me know if you start
Carry on.
dozing off on
I'm
our.
gonna watch
'cause
Wesley's
Tony
face
and I,
while I'm
That's it.
talking.
Tony and I can talk
This is
high
your
tech.
meter. Go.
We can talk high tech all day long.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. There are about 3 or 4 big companies like Cloudflare and what's the Amazon?
Yeah, AWS, and it's Amazon's.
They went down a
web provider.
couple months
Did
ago.
about
or
a month ago. Yeah, that was a big deal too.
It was a
Took
big-
down a lot of the East Coast with them.
So, okay, I'm asking you to speculate right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in this kind of situation, would you be? Could be a mouse got in the computer system room, but I'm talking. I'm just kidding. But these because we live in an interconnected world, could let's say bad actors in a foreign country like China, for example, who just wants to see how this might interrupt with American business and commerce, could somebody like that be behind this, or Russia be behind this?
I mean, so here's the thing with the incidents like these, with what happened with Amazon about a month ago, and now you have Cloudflare. Cloudflare, they account for about 20% of web traffic goes through Cloudflare service
in the world.
Yeah. Globally.
Wow.
So here's the thing with these companies. Anytime something like this happens, there's always going to be some internal issue that happens, some update that causes
They're not
an
going
issue.
to come
They're
out
not
and
gonna
say,
come
"Hey,
out and
we were it's our fault. We were violated."
Yeah, exactly. That would just probably cause undue panic. But an unusual spike, if you know a little bit about computers, that's generally because someone is pushing the button and trying to accelerate and test the system to see what would happen.
Okay.
And obviously, they found out what happens if you press the gas a little bit on Cloudflare services. It can cause disruptions. So I don't think it. To me, I'm put.
You're speculating.
Speculation. Yeah, it's not beyond the realm of possibility to think that maybe someone like a China or a Russia or Iran, a bad actor, might just be poking and prodding. I mean, for this to happen a month after what happened to Amazon.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Maybe
Right.
Maybe there are multiple mice in the system, like you said, but it may be a little bit too much of a.
Well, you've piqued my interest. I actually got
So
a
you
question.
didn't fall
His
asleep
eyes were
on it?
awake. His eyes were open the
Yeah,
whole
I was
time.
listening.
Yeah. These
So-
days, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, these days you don't even have to worry about like a government, a foreign government. There's even like rogue actors within, and then you have like anarchists. You've got people out there that are like radical environmentalists that want to blow up pipelines. It could be any number of people, and not just a foreign government that could be behind something like this, or something.
But you would have to have an ulterior motive. Seems to me, you don't just sit around and hire people to do this kind of thing. If they were hired, they either want ransom money, like we see going on with companies a lot of times. They get hacked, they get attacked, their data's exposed, and then these bad actors, they want, are you going to pay us $100,000 to get your data back and that kind of thing. So that kind of thing goes on. Go ahead.
So how much of this type of work, dirty work, could be the future of war? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Cyber war?
Cyber war.
It's definitely
From country to country, not necessarily like.
No, I see. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, this is definitely a front for future warfare, and there's a front for what I consider kind of a Cold War even now. So to Chris's point, if an attack is linked back to a bad actor group, it might be some rogue group. Oftentimes, that rogue group is sponsored by a state, but it's a proxy so that you can't draw a direct connection back to Russia or to China or to Iran. So it is definitely a new front for warfare. I mean, can you imagine just how connected everything is with the internet? What type of chaos you could create by attacking a nation's internet connection?
Yeah,
or their systems.
for
Banking
commerce goes down. Banking, in particular, banking goes.
Right.
Let's say banking goes down, for 5 days. in the United States because of a hit like this.
Right.
It's just that's a real possibility.
It is.
Yeah, when something like this happens, what happened today and what happened with the Amazon servers, you go, well, they are vulnerable. Now, they may get it fixed pretty quick, but they've proven that they are vulnerable.
Right.
They are vulnerable. What's the other? You said Amazon and Cloudflare. What's the other company or two that?
So you got Microsoft,
the big boys.
Microsoft's Azure services. They do some of the same, provide the same services. Those are the
Big
major,
boys?
Those are the major players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tony, next Monday you're going to be here in my seat because I think your dad's going to be here too, right?
Yeah, he's going to be.
Tony's dad, Ed Vitagliano, will be here to oversee how you're doing.
Yeah. To pull the plug if it gets
But
too
then
bad.
I think on Tuesday it's just going to be you. Ray, you going to be here next Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm here Monday, Tuesday, and
Okay.
Wednesday next
Okay, so it'll be Ray.
And it'll be a thinner
Tony.
crowd. Is what
Yeah,
you're getting at.
yeah. I'm saying you and I'll be out of town.
That's right. Yeah.
So I wanted people to know Tony's going to be hosting next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday too, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday too. So, what I'm saying to you, Tony, in front of all our listeners is I just want you to understand we built a great thing here with today's issues, and we're handing it to you. And
For a whole 2 times, 3 times.
with 3 days, and
Yeah.
you just don't need to blow it.
We don't want
Yeah,
to come back with less listeners. That's the bottom
less
line.
listeners. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have
I
to
wanted
do
our
a-
listeners to know you're going to be hosting Monday again with your dad, Tuesday with Ray. And in all seriousness, we're looking forward to having you fill in for us and handle the show.
Well,
Okay.
excited to do it. Thank you.
All right. That's Tony Vitagliano. Yes, he's Ed Vitagliano's only son. And he's going to be here. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Tim, Wesley, Chris, and Ray. All right, Chris, what's your first story there?
Well, this is something that is happening today, and you can read about it on our website, afn.net.
Which is back up.
Yes, which is back up, thanks to the hard work of many
right.
people that are much more smarter than me, if that's grammatically
I think
Smarter.
the right word is smarterer.
There, I have a BA in communication. All right. So the Saudi Crown Prince is going to get a warm embrace today from President Trump and U.S. businesses. They're going to have a gathering today at the White House. They're going to discuss business, trade, issues in the Middle East there. President Trump has even offered to sell Saudi Arabia some of our military equipment, and I can say that based on some audio here from the POTUS himself. Clip 8.
Are you planning to sell F-35s to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I mean, and also, are you looking at doing a similar security agreement like you did with
Yeah, no, I am planning on doing that, yeah.
You're gonna
They
sell
want to
the
buy it. They've been a
F-35s?
great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s, yeah.
Now, guys, some people are concerned about this because you've got somebody from Saudi Arabia at the White House, and we're talking about trade and whatnot. But the alternative there is not getting along and risking some sort of conflict and them not being on our side or an ally.
Ray, comment on this, if you would. I got some thoughts myself, but go ahead.
Look, are there radical elements in Saudi Arabia? Absolutely. Do they do everything to push Christian worship underground and out of sight? Absolutely. Is it a Muslim nation? Yes, all of that is true. It's also true that the royal house of Saudi Arabia is moderate in Middle East terms. They've been friendly with the U.S., and I think behind closed doors, they've been friendly and helpful to the nation of Israel. So this isn't, in my opinion, Tim, it's not a bad thing for President Trump to do. They have been friendly to us, and we ought to try to help our friends in the Middle East and try to get some more if we can.
Yeah, I agree with that. People would say, why would you sell fighter jets to Saudi Arabia? Well, Saudi Arabia has not been at war or in any kind of conflict that I can remember with Israel.
Any of our allies.
Israel, yes. So Israel, as you say, and Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia are the countries, the Arab countries that surround Israel, except for on the north you got Lebanon and Syria, and we're trying to build a good relationship with the new Syrian guy. So, keep peace in the region. You're not going to change these people's religion, okay? And they do have radical factions. This is where bin Laden grew up, Wahhabism, is that what it's called? In the branch of Islam, Ray, Wahhabism, that's kind of radical over there.
Yes, right.
Saudi Arabia. So, but the Saudis, they like money. They like oil. I'm talking about the royal family. They like the good life. Okay, they don't want to get in any war with Israel. The Saudi Arabia, that serves them no purpose. They're not radicalized like that. As a royal family, a kingdom, if you will. Also, you have the Sunni Shia situation. Pardon me. You have the Sunni Shia situation. So the Arabs they're Sunni, okay? Think of this like Protestant Catholic, if you would. The Arabs that surround Israel and that part of the world, they are what you call Sunni branch, Muslims. The Shia would be like the Persians, like in Iran, for example, and they don't like each other. Worse than Catholics and Protestants, they don't like each other. They think each other are a cult. Ray, correct me if I'm wrong here. Isn't this?
No, that's right. There's been animosity between the Sunnis and the Shias, especially from Shias to the Sunnis. Because the Sunni Muslims is about 80%.
Yeah.
And Shia is about 15%. So if you're Shia, you're already outnumbered. And this goes back to an ancient debate. 1,500 years old or 1,400 years old? Which branch is the true descendants or should be the true descendants of Muhammad, right? The Sunnis, that branch, they won out, and the Shias have not forgotten it for all of these years.
So here's my bottom line about this strategically, militarily. President Trump saying he's going to sell fighter jets to Saudi Arabia really is more a check against Iran than it is against Israel, than it is a threat to Israel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that I think that best explains it. Go ahead.
I looked it up a minute ago. Saudi Arabia has been involved in a couple of conflicts against Russia, but they were decades ago.
Russia?
Not Russia. Israel. I'm so sorry.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is
Chris.
a big difference. I'll see
Sound
myself.
like me trying to comment on the foreign affairs.
I'll see myself out. Saudi Arabia was involved in two conflicts, the 1948 Arab-Israeli War and the 1973 Yom Kippur War, which was 52 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've had any kind of military conflict. As I say, the Saudi royal family, they like money, they like people buying oil from them.
They sure do.
And they like the good life. So
they're getting a red carpet treatment right now as we speak. At the White House.
Very literally.
Literally, there's red carpet there for them to walk on.
Yeah. Now, it's always funny to me, Ray, when you get these leaders from around the world who kiss each other.
Oh yeah.
on the left cheek and the right cheek.
Right.
And then the Western leaders, a lot of them, they don't go for that.
There's a big culture.
I don't think President Trump's going to be kissing anybody.
That's why Paul said greet each other with a holy kiss.
That's right. I don't think President Trump follows that tradition.
No, he's not going to do that. He's going to shake your hand maybe, but I don't know. Do they do high fives when they greet each other over there?
Fist
bumps. I don't know if they do.
Maybe in a comedy skit, but nothing.
But anyway, all right. So President Trump is hosting the what's his name? The Royal Prince.
Come back after the break and I'll let you know.
Mohammed bin Salama.
There you go.
Wesley, I don't know if
no,
you got...
not Salama.
That was
Salomon.
That was a Mississippi...
Solomon.
You need to stop right there, I think.
Some people say salmon.
Wesley doing... You guys.
It's just...
Listen.
We're going to work this out over the break.
I got Muhammad right.
You did get Muhammad right.
You did.
I give you that. Just that you guys are doing a Mississippi take on a name you can't pronounce very well.
That's right.
And it makes us look bad.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? To the rest of the country.
Agree with that.
When they hear you do butchering names.
Oh, look at this one. Look at this name.
Just say I don't know.
Look at this name.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Stay with us. What?
It's my turn. Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
The city slicker had just driven up to the country store. He noticed a group of men sitting on one side of the store's porch, engaged in a game of checkers. On the other side of the porch was a fellow sitting in a rocking chair. The city slicker, who was at the store to make a big sale and turn a nice profit, decided he would go over and speak to the man in the chair. The man, who was enjoying a good chew of tobacco, had an old hound dog lying on the floor beside him. The city slicker, knowing something of the love that country people have for their dogs, decided that the way to impress the man in the chair was to be nice to the man's dog. So he walked over to where the man was sitting. "Howdy, mister," the city slicker said. "Does your dog bite?" he asked. "Nope," replied the man, giving a good strong spit of his chewing tobacco. The city slicker reached down to pat the dog on the head. The dog responded by biting the man's hand off. Finally, when the other men managed to get the dog off the city slicker, he spoke to the man in the chair again. "I thought you said that your dog didn't bite," the city slicker said. The country fellow, still sitting in his chair, gave another healthy tobacco spit and then spoke. "My dog don't bite. That ain't my dog." One of the tragedies of our age is our unwillingness to be helpful when we can. We see people who are headed for trouble, people whom we could be helpful to, and we simply make no effort to assist them. The Italian poet Dante once had this to say about such people. "He who sees a need and waits to be asked for help is as unkind as if he had refused it." Our generation is seemingly being influenced heavily by this policy of non-involvement. We see places where we could help, where our help is needed, and we turn away with the thought that that's none of my business. And that thought, that attitude is totally false. If you can be of help to your fellow man, and he needs your help, then it's some of your business. We're all part of the family of man, and that makes us all brothers and sisters. Our reason for being in the world is to make a difference, to make it better that we're here. And the finest way we can do that is to lend assistance where and when we can, to have an opportunity to do good. And to fail to take advantage of that opportunity is a reflection of a tragic flaw in our moral character. Non-involvement is a self-defeating attitude because the time will come for each of us when we ourselves will need the assistance of another. The Apostle Paul once wrote, "Be kind to each other." You know, that's still good sound advice today. And the carpenter himself said, "Treat others as you would want them to treat you." From experience, let me say that advice takes precedent over a policy of non-involvement any day of the week. In other words, if it isn't your dog, tell the man so.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
On Exploring Missions, you'll hear missionaries like Colin McDougall of Africa Inland Missions.
Yesu ndimi njia na ukweli na uzima. Yohana 14:6.
What did he say?
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. John 14:6.
Colin learned a new language to minister to the people of Africa.
That's right. We're mostly working on the east and also in the north of Africa.
Saturday afternoons at 2:30 Central on American Family Radio.
For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves. Colossians 1:13.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim with Wesley and Chris and Ray. And joining us now is Dr. Ian Day. He is the Chief Medical Officer for Medishare. And you hear them advertised here and promoted on American Family Radio often, and we've done this for years and years. And Dr. Day joins us. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Tim, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Where do you live?
I live in Cocoa, Florida.
Oh, you're
Central
not
Florida.
like Cocoa Beach?
Very close to that, and near the headquarters for Medishare, which is in Melbourne, Florida.
Okay, you're not too far. Ray Pritchard's on the he's one of our co-hosts today. He's down there, and you're on the West Coast, though, aren't you, Ray?
That's right, Hudson, Florida.
Yeah.
You're on the West Coast? Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, so east of Orlando. If people are not familiar with Florida, the Cocoa and Melbourne area is east of Orlando.
Yeah. Are you a surfer, are you?
No, I'm not a surfer.
Oh, dude. You need to, get out there.
That's good.
Yeah, huh?
Dude.
But I've seen a lot of
See what I did there?
shark bites in New Smyrna Beach on surfers.
You got Medishare for that?
Chris, see what you did there. All right, let's talk about Medishare because I wanted to let people know from you because what's your role there with Medishare?
Oh, I'm the Chief Medical Officer for Medishare. And so in general, I provide leadership for clinical operations and health and wellness, give oversight to clinical initiatives, healthcare education, medicine programs, health coaching with regard to diet, exercise, weight loss.
Okay.
And we all come alongside during healthcare journeys of our members, whether they're hospitalized, new illnesses, cancers, and I help to give all oversight to these clinical initiatives.
I got you. So tell our listeners who maybe don't know, maybe they're new listeners. I know we have a lot of new listeners in the Des Moines, Iowa area and other places we're new on the air. Tell our listeners exactly what Medishare is and what you guys do.
Oh, thanks for that opportunity. Sometimes people hear Medishare and they hear Christian Care Ministry, so maybe it might be helpful to talk about both. Christian Care Ministry is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization that administers the Medishare program. Now, what is the program? So the Medishare program is an accredited healthcare sharing ministry. The Medishare program is a membership, a community of believers that enables members to share in other members' medical bills according to the guidelines voted on by the members. And the purpose of Medishare is to bring Christians together to share God's blessings and to share in each other's burdens. Members share in each other's eligible medical bills, that is, bills from doctors, hospitals, operations, treatments, etc. But we also share in the spiritual burdens that often arise in the healthcare journey. Staff come alongside members in prayer with every call, and staff come along members with coaching and education. And with these calls, hundreds of thousands of prayers go out every year. It's really a fantastic thing. And it's important to know that the Medishare program is built on a foundation of like ideals agreed upon by the members. So the bottom line, there's peace of mind knowing the people sharing your contributions are not using your money for things that conflict with your faith. In other words, there's peace of mind participating in God-honoring health care.
How do you differ from insurance, medical insurance?
Well, the healthcare sharing ministry, what we do is a bill comes in for a member's medical expense, and we look at the guidelines that were voted on and created by the membership and see if that member's bills are shareable. And if so, the members, through their individual accounts, share in that medical expense. And it works. So Medishare has a proven track record. For over 30 years, the Medishare community has shared in every eligible medical bill as determined by the actual members in their guidelines.
You mean, okay,
Now
so
sharing-
for example, so you probably can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't cuss. Am I right? I was kidding.
Yeah, that's correct.
I was kidding about the cussing part. but the other two, I was right. But in other words, you can't have a lifestyle that leads to health problems that are avoidable, and so that to be eligible to be a part of Medishare, right?
That's right. That's so important, and that also a distinction from insurance is that all adult members must attest to a personal relationship with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Profess to the statement of faith, even to in order even to qualify for membership.
Gotcha.
our members don't share in things that arise out of a non-biblical lifestyle. For example, gender reassignment operations.
Right.
If you happen to get in a drunk driver accident, the membership doesn't share in those expenses. If you're using illegal drugs and end up hospitalized,
Right.
We don't share in abortions.
Gotcha. Hey, one other thing. Let me ask you this about. Okay, so let's say I am a member of Medishare, and I show up at the hospital because my son broke his arm. Okay, is the hospital, when you tell them, they're going to say, well, show us your insurance card, or what kind of insurance do you have? Are they going to look at you funny when you say I have Medishare and I share our bills? Are they going to know about this? Are they going to be accepting of this?
Medishare's been around for so long. Usually, hospitals recognize the card.
Right.
So, like with insurance, you have a card. Well, you go to a provider, like for example, either an office or a hospital, or the situation you described as an emergency. You show your Medishare card, and on the back side of the card, it shows the provider, the hospital, how to electronically file the bill.
Okay, gotcha. Well, tell our listeners what they need to do now if they're interested in your ministry / service, and how they can learn more and join.
Sure. So it's really easy. It's Medishare.com, Medishare.com. And on that first page there's a frequently asked questions, an opportunity to learn more right on that first page there. And you'll, as soon as you start entering the queries there, you'll be hooked up with a live person or some other assistants to guide you through the process and learning more about Medishare. It's all right there on the online form.
But it will be a live person, right?
Live person, and we've sometimes brought in technologies to help out as well. Mm-hmm.
Most of our listeners like to talk to a real person. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and that's available. Yep.
Okay, because you get lost in that for this tap 1, for Hungarian tap 3, and
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
If you need a live person, we have a live person available to you from our contact center.
Awesome. Well, hey, by the way, so you're like have you been an emergency room doctor or something? Because you mentioned you've seen people with shark bites down there.
That's right. That was in New Smyrna Beach. It's the shark bite capital of the United States, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I used to work in that hospital. I'm a hospitalist. That's the type of practice I have.
Okay. Well, you're not going to be invited to be a part of their welcome and convention business bureau there, since you called it the shark bite.
You're going to watch Shark Week with the rest of us.
Yeah. New Smyrna.
Well, they're famous for that, or maybe it's infamous, but they're well known for that.
Yeah. If you go to New Smyrna Beach, you want to hold it to ankle high.
That's right.
If you're going to go walking on the beach, I'm sure it's a beautiful beach, but you just don't want to go wading out there too far.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a family physician by training and hospitalist by the type of practice, hospital-based medicine.
A hospitalist, okay. All right. Well, Dr. Ian Day has been our guest. Dr. I-A-N, that's his first name, Day. And we appreciate you being on with us, brother. And you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and may you have good health. Okay.
Amen.
God bless you, Tim, and thank you, and God bless all the listeners.
Okay, thank you. You ever been bit by a shark, Wesley?
I have not been bitten by a shark, only in my worst dreams.
Oh, my goodness. I looked up the stats on this place.
What, New Smyrna Beach?
Yes. According to the internet, something called the International Shark Attack File has recorded over 300 shark bites in New Smyrna Beach since the 1980s, making it the site of more bites than anywhere in the U.S. The high number of bites is due to a perfect storm of conditions, including murky water, abundant bait fish, and a high number of people in the water, especially surfers seeking consistent waves. Most bites are considered minor. I don't know who considers a shark bite to be minor. With the sharks mistaking humans for...
It's minor unless it happens to you.
Right.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, you ever been bit by a shark, Ray?
Oh, no.
Okay.
In where we are around here, alligators are
a higher
risk.
They're higher priority.
Or iguanas.
Iguana.
I hate it. I
Not,
hate it
but
when
not
they come.
biting.
But iguanas, they
don't
can't
bite.
they can't take off a digit, can they?
No, but just from an injury from an animal, you're more likely to have a fallen iguana.
Oh, then you are even an
it gets
alligator.
cold
Principle
enough.
of that you're walking along and all of a sudden a great big lizard hits you.
This
on
is going to
that
take
head.
over part of the identity of today's issues, the fallen iguanas.
Well, we want to
Each
make
year.
sure we help people safe.
That's right.
Today's
Stay
issues.
safe.
We had Medishare, and now we're having.
So one other thing about that is you showed me pictures of where your new residence is down there in Florida, and Florida does have alligators. I mean, they do have alligators. And you said that you were told there was an alligator in a pond near you there or something?
You know, this property, Word of Life, is about 180 or 190 or 200 acres, something like that. But there's water everywhere. And the fish and wildlife people here say there are over 200 alligators, maybe 250 on the property, including, I'm pointing.
Right, I know.
Just
what, a couple hundred yards?
Oh, no, much closer than that.
Wow.
Maybe 15 yards away. There's a little lagoon, and there's alligators out there. I haven't seen any yet, but some of our grandkids are coming in on Wednesday to spend a few days with us, and we're going to go out at night with flashlights. See,
Alligators lurk.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They lurk. And so I told you, you need to keep your little dog.
Yes. Keep Sadie.
Keep her away from just wandering down there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Listen,
on a leash.
Sadie'd be a real fine snack for an alligator.
I know.
And she would not know. She wouldn't know how dangerous that animal was. So
yeah, they snatch. You do read about them snatching dogs and such.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of snacks, have you had alligator? Has anybody?
Very
had
good.
It? It's good. It's very
really
good.
Enjoy alligator.
It's like the texture of steak, but it tastes like chicken. No joke.
It tastes like chicken. What everybody says.
I have a policy, and it's a personal one. I don't. Anything that can kill me, you know what I'm saying, with a bite, I typically don't want to eat them.
Unless it's fried.
Because there's karma there in the world.
Unless
you know
it's
what
fried.
Unless it's fried.
Unless it's fried. If it's fried, it's going to be.
You can fry anything and you'll try it?
You can fry ice cream.
They do little alligator bites, right?
Fry Oreos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, alligators. Alligator. I've seen. I've been to the Everglades, and down around Miami, you go out about half an hour from Miami to the Everglades and get in one of those boats. I did that. We did that a couple of years ago. Now that's a sightseeing adventure. That's not. You're not at risk, okay, unless you fall out of the boat.
Keep your hands. Keep your hands inside.
Yeah, well, that's what the guide says. It's one of those airboats.
Yeah. I've done that.
You've done that? Yeah, one of those airboats like Gentle Ben.
Oh, yeah, and you're out there. You are out there.
You're out there in the wild, and these guides know exactly where to go to see these monster gators in the wild.
Or crocodiles.
Mm-mm. I couldn't tell the difference, but anyway, they and so you're in this little boat. Now, if that boat did go, something happened, you would be in trouble.
And you know what they say here in Florida, and this is what they truly say. If you want to know if there's like alligators in a pond or a pool of water, stick your hand in the water, pull it out. If your hand is wet, there's alligators there. So
they're everywhere.
No
wonder they're known as.
If the water's wet, you got alligators somewhere.
Yeah. So the University of Florida are called the Gators for a very good reason.
Right. For a very good reason.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family.
Be a blessing to our listeners.
Just want to keep people safe.
Keep them safe. Watch out for the gators.
Sharks and alligators.
And iguanas.
Stay away. And fallen iguanas. All right, Chris, what's your next story?
Speaking of keeping people safe, the Trump administration, to their credit, oftentimes the president or his administration will kind of give a passing nod to something and move on. But this administration really seems concerned about the safety and health of Christians in Nigeria. It's been a topic of concern for theirs for weeks now. And today, UN Ambassador Mike Waltz is going to be giving some reaction, some speeches there at the UN.
Who is?
Michael Waltz, our U.S. Ambassador to the UN.
Okay.
He's going to be talking about the persecution that Christians are facing in Nigeria. And to help them, I'm not sure why, but to help them is entertainer Nicki Minaj to bring awareness to this issue. And so I've got some comments here from a couple of different
Who is
people.
she for those baby boomers who have no clue?
She is a singer/rapper. And this is not the first time the administration has gotten a pop culture or person to raise awareness to stuff. For example, during his previous term in office, President Trump had Kim Kardashian talk about the Armenian genocide. So now they're using Nicki Minaj to bring
Now, let
awareness
me
to
just say
Nigeria.
people who don't know, this singer / rapper is a big celebrity. I
Yes.
mean, our listeners may not know who she is, probably don't, but she is a big entertainer known around the world. So she, for some reason, to her credit, has developed an interest. I don't know if there's a family connection or what, because she's from the Caribbean. I think she's from Trinidad. Isn't that in the Caribbean?
That's right, Trinidad.
Okay, so maybe she has, now she is a black person, so maybe she has a family connection to Nigeria.
Could be.
I don't know. So what exactly the connection is, but anyway, she's bringing, again, to her credit, and then now to President Trump's, bringing international attention to what is happening in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Nigeria is the largest populated country in Africa. Ray, can you tell us, maybe in a nutshell, I know you've talked about this before on this program, and you know, these Christians, there's a lot of Christians in Nigeria, but tell our listeners what the situation is and why the Trump administration and this singer.
Mr. Trump is not just right, he's 100% right. The Christians in Nigeria, especially in the northern portions of Nigeria, they're under attack. They are being hunted. Churches are being destroyed. Pastors are being kidnapped. They're being attacked. They're being beaten. Many cases, they're being burned. Whole families are being killed. Whatever you think you've read, it's actually worse on the ground in Nigeria. And the best way to think about Nigeria is geographically. The southern part of Nigeria is heavily Christian. The northern part of Nigeria is heavily Muslim. And so much of the trouble is happening in that central region where it's neither 100% Christian or 100% Muslim. Places like the Plateau State, Jos, Nigeria. I was there visiting with my wife, Marlene, and I were there a number of years ago visiting a great mission station there in Jos. But it was dangerous enough 25 years ago. I would not feel safe going there today. Christians are in that central region, Tim, of Nigeria. That's where the killing is the worst. And the government says they're trying to crack down on it, but in too many cases, they are just turning a blind eye, and the people on the ground, the Muslim radicals, they know they can get away with it because the government either can't or won't stop it.
Is this the group known as Boko Haram, or is this a different branch? Boko Haram, I'm talking about these radical Islamic groups that commit acts of violence and terror. They have all kind of names, like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram. I mentioned that name. That's in Africa. It just seems like it's always the radical Islamic jihadists that are creating trouble for everybody.
Well, Boko Haram is very active in Nigeria, and they are behind this is a radical Muslim group. They're active in Nigeria, they're active in Kenya, they're active in Uganda. That's just three countries that come to mind. And these are the folks who are kidnapping these young girls.
They want to impose Sharia law on everybody.
Yes,
they want to make the Christians bow the knee to Allah and convert, right? Either you convert or we cut your head off. I mean, this is the type of mentality we're talking about, right?
These are not people that you negotiate with. These are the people who say you convert or you die. In many cases, Christians say, we will not bow the knee, and they are shot on the spot.
Well, President Trump even suggested sending U.S. troops over there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to do that, but that's what he had suggested at one point about how the Christians were being persecuted, and that with a capital P, in the country of Nigeria. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Did you have a soundbite about that, Chris, or
I
no?
do have sound from somebody talking about the U.S. partnering with Nicki Minaj about this situation. It's an analyst by the name of Miriam Waba. She was on Fox.
Miriam?
Miriam or Miriam, however she might pronounce it.
I just keep picking on you.
Oh, I got you. A person whose last name is Waba is talking about this situation. Clip 10.
We're seeing the president really spotlight an issue that's been going on for decades now, the targeting of Christians, the persecution of Christians in Nigeria and really Africa at large. What's happening in Nigeria is particularly interesting because the persecution falls into two main categories in my eyes. You're seeing the classic Islamists that's talking about Boko Haram, ISIS, the Islamic State. And what's more interesting, what we're seeing the president and Ambassador Mike Waltz highlight is these Fulani herder militias that are targeting Christian farmer. We're seeing these Fulani herders militarize, create militaries to attack Christians for their faith.
Yeah, okay. Well, next story.
All right. One other thing that's on our website now, and we're going to be following up with this afternoon. John Riley's already given us a story that's already aired on the radio and will continue to air. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is applauding the UN for adopting President Trump's Gaza peace plan yesterday. Hamas is rejecting this, saying we didn't agree to this. But long story short, the resolution passed the UN Security Council yesterday.
Good.
This is the thing that basically tries to seek some peace between Israel and Hamas and end the war that started when Hamas committed a terrorist attack against Israel back in October 7th of 2023.
Well, so far, the Israeli-Hamas conflict war has, the ceasefire's held.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good news. Wesley, I don't know if we have time for this, and you didn't know I was going to ask you for this, but you've been following the internal back and forth in the conservative podcast movement about between Tucker Carlson. Is it Tucker Carlson and Candace Owen?
Yeah, they would be the leader on one side.
Okay, but they're at odds with a whole lot of other in the MAGA/conservative movement.
Yeah, Mark
right?
Dice would be in that group as well.
You mean with Tucker Carlson and
Tucker
Candace Owen?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They think Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel?
Mark doesn't think that, but yeah, Candace has said that many times.
She did a podcast last night about that very thing.
Yeah, she's also inconsistent because her first position was that the FBI killed Charlie, and then she changed it to Israel, and then she went back. So she's not really.
Why is she doing this?
Oh, I think she's doing it for attention, or
because I used to like her.
Yeah,
Candace Owen, but now that just seems to be.
Well, and
it seems to be irresponsible.
Yeah, it's certainly irresponsible from a journalist standpoint, and you do, over time, begin to develop a reputation where you start losing your broader audience. But she has been able to hold on to a handful of people that are more conspiratorial by nature, and she's feeding on that, and she's getting a lot of attention because of it. I do believe somewhere deep down inside she does believe of the deep state having some connection, and but the problem is
I've read. I want
to have evidence.
Yeah, I want to pick this up a little when we come back because I think this is important because I know a lot of our listeners are familiar with the names I've just mentioned.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Now, our listeners are more radio people, not necessarily podcast people, although we do have podcasts ourselves here.
Mm-hmm.
But the influence of some of these names I've mentioned, particularly Tucker Carlson, has been enormous in the podcast world.
Yeah,
especially since he left Fox News about 2 years ago. You remember that? All right, we're going to take a short time out right here and be back with more of this conversation. Chris, thank you for your contributions.
Thank you.
So Ray, Wesley, and Tim, that's me. I'm speaking in third person. We'll be back with Steve Paisley Jordahl in a moment. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
They will thrust a cell phone in your face. If you ask a question, they'll surround you with cameras. They'll scream at you. They'll try to get you to commit violence. I believe God is giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what life without Him would be like.
A Disciple's View with Todd Herman. Critical information from a faith-enriching perspective. Weekdays at noon Central on AFR. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Lawmakers in the House are expected to vote on a resolution telling the Justice Department to release files regarding convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. House Speaker Mike Johnson accusing Democrats of only supporting the release as political leverage.
The biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. The Biden Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years.
Details emerging about the suspect charged with attempting to assassinate President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania last year. Alexis McAdams has more.
Thomas Crook's internet history was full of red flags. That's according to the New York Post. Now, questions are emerging about how the feds handled his comments when he said he wanted to kill politicians online. A source saying that Crooks wrote this online long before he shot President Trump from that rooftop. According to the Post source, Crooks' online comments show that he flipped from pro-Trump to anti-Trump at some point. He wrote Trump is the literal definition of patriotism in 2019, but then just months later, he slammed Trump's supporters, saying they are, quote, too brainwashed to realize how dumb they are. Overall, his online post showed he had an obsession with assassinations. He Googled it often, according to the feds.
The FAA has lifted all travel restrictions at the nation's biggest airports after the government reopened last week, putting an end to weeks of delays and cancellations. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy explains what led to the decision to restrict flights.
We saw, though, more pressure coming from air traffic controllers. We saw risk elevations. And that's why we took the steps to say, you know what, over the next week, we are going to reduce capacity by 10%.
A pro-Israel activist believes a proposed meeting between President Trump and the new mayor of New York will be an all upside for the president.
On Sunday, President Trump indicated that he intends to meet with New York's controversial mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, and they'll, quote, work something out in what could be a détente for the Republican president and the Democrat socialists who have cast each other as political foils. Trump has unabashedly called Mamdani a communist and has predicted he will ruin his hometown. Meanwhile, Mamdani has plans for, quote, Trump-proofing New York once he takes office in January. Gary Bauer is chairman of the Campaign for Working Families, who has served on the board of Christians United for Israel.
He is the president of the United States. So offering an opportunity for the mayor-elect to sit down with him and discuss issues, that's all upside for President Trump. In any such meeting, Donald Trump will hold all the cards, and the mayor of New York will be in the position of having to say something to stay on the president's good side, because the president could have a big impact on the flow of federal funds to New York City.
And Bauer says Trump should insist on something else from Mamdani.
I want direct assurances that you will keep the Jewish citizens of New York City safe, because you have been aligned with forces that are anti-Semite. And I'm the president of the United States. I'm not going to stand for it. So what kind of assurances can you give me? I don't see anything that can come out of this meeting that is good for the Marxist newly elected mayor of New York City.
I'm Chad Groening.
Parents are looking for more alternatives to traditional classroom learning. Unschooling is becoming a new trend, pushed by parents focused on teaching their children life lessons and skills instead of just textbooks. Amanda Schinkenberger is a homeschool mom and homeschool coach and answers concerns about standardized testing.
It's very interesting when you allow your child a love of learning and the pursuit of that. Their learning with whatever they're being tested on does come along with this. For example, my boys, they do standardized testing. It's required here in the state of Oregon, and they consistently score in the top 10% of the nation through our method of unschooling.
Wow, that's
There's more news available online at afn.net. And download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The American Family Association's mission is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. Our goal is to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. AFA aims to evangelize the lost and disciple the believer. We aim to strengthen biblical marriages and equip parents to raise godly children.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. I'm Tim Wildmon with Wesley Wildmon and Ray Pritchard. Ray's in Florida, and we're in Mississippi. And joining me also in studio now is Steve Paisley Jordahl. Good morning, Brother Steve.
Hey, good morning and afternoon, everybody. So it's afternoon for Ray. Are you the Florida man that they keep talking about, Ray?
I am the Florida man. I just during the break I realized it's lunchtime here. It's noon here in Florida.
You're used to doing the show from Kansas City, which
that's right,
Central Time Zone.
That's right.
Anyway, thanks for listening to us, everybody, on to American Family Radio. If you want to go to our website, afr.net, this show we podcast so you can listen on demand, and a lot of the other shows we have here on American Family Radio are offered in podcast form. Again, well, how you doing today, brother?
I'm
Steve?
well. I'm well, thank you. Yeah, it's a good day so far.
Wearing the Paisley shirt.
Got the Paisley on.
Paisley going.
And I've got an AFA T-shirt underneath there too. So there's.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
This is the youth conference. The last.
That's
conference
right.
we had.
The Activate Summit
And
conference
I had a
there we had in
T-shirt,
Tupelo. You helped out with the youth.
I did.
Yep.
I want to finish our conversation. We were talking. Many of our listeners are familiar with the names Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, those two in particular. But there's a lot of names that we could bring up, maybe not well known as those names, that make up the conservative podcast world out there, which has an enormous following. But there's a
Civil War
going on right now within that camp.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, Steve?
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about Candace Owen. She did, Wesley, you credited her. You said she did one of the best exposés about the Black Lives Matter movement, didn't she?
Yeah, she did a documentary on it, and I watched the whole thing, and it was phenomenal. Chelsea and I, we actually paid to watch it.
This is what, 4 or 5 years ago?
That's right. Yep. This has been in 2021, I believe it was, and watched it. And
now, wasn't she with Ben Shapiro?
At the time, they financially helped produce the film.
Daily Wire?
Yeah, and she was the host of the film, the documentary, and
but she had built up a lot of credibility inside the conservative movement, right?
Yeah, she built that up. I know she's been there. I don't know if she's been to the Blaze. I can't remember, but she's been 2 or 3 stops before she's now independent on her own.
All right, Steve, if you don't know, Wesley will know, but I want to include you in the show, Steve.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
I want to build your
Good to be here.
Okay. So do you know what the controversy is surrounding Candace Owen right now?
Well, we've talked a little bit about Tucker Carlson and his kind of
anti-Israel
stuff. Times 3 is probably where Candace Owen has probably landed. And I don't know why, because she was, like Wesley was saying, she was very solid back in the day. But like Tucker, it seems like as they get independent, she has kind of gone off the rails. She's gone as far as to say that Israel and Erica Kirk were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, which is just ludicrous. But this is what she's spouting out there.
Why would she do something like that?
Without the internet, this would not be possible. So are they looking for clicks? I don't know. They're
so
trying to make a name for themselves.
Is this the video going around? And Ray, feel free to comment on this if you want to. But is this the video going around where they have Frank Turek and some of the other people on the that were with Charlie that day doing hand signals and so forth, and all that, as if they were relaying to the shooter messages. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know that Candace Owen early on. Now here's another problem with. Well, early on she did have the same Frank Turek clip going around but then she asked questions. You know, her way of journalism is putting something out there that's so outlandish and then following up, well, I'm just asking questions. And then when we get answers to
That's what Tucker Carlson does too.
But then it gets worse, because then after we do get clarification and answers to what she proposed,
I got you.
She doesn't follow up. And that's what makes people of sound mind very angry, because we go from not listening to her to now we have to talk about her and criticize her when she otherwise is ideologically sound 90% of the time, because she just proposed something that she's not going to follow up. When she's given the answers to the question, she doesn't come back and go, okay, now I have the answers.
I got you.
You know, so she just leaves it out there.
Yeah.
I think both Tucker and Candace, I think Donald Trump has broken both of them. I think they're trying to find a place on the right which is unique. They're distancing themselves from the MAGA movement, from Trump. They wouldn't call it that, but they are, because even Donald Trump hasn't got anywhere near any of these conspiracy theories.
Okay, Ray, Ray, anything you want to say about what we just talked about? If not, I have a question relative to Israel for you. Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay, here's the question. And we talked about related to what we were discussing here, because Candace Owen and Tucker Carlson both have outspoken critics of Israel and the Jews, and that American Christians were too tight with Israel because of our theological beliefs, not because of our rational beliefs. Have I got this right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, Ray, on this. I think America's relationship to Israel, yes, does my theology matter in how I view Israel? Yes, it absolutely does. But I think our relationship to Israel, our special relationship with Israel as our top ally in the Middle East, if not the world, is worth protecting and preserving, and that Israel has a right to exist. And we should not take just a neutral position on the country of Israel, the nation of Israel, as these people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owen and others, others on the right, some of them say we should take an adversarial position with Israel. Comment on that, if you would.
Well, first of all, you're exactly right that our theology, from our point of view, as Christian, conservative evangelicals, we read the Bible, we see that God has a plan for the Jewish people, that God is the one who brought the ancient nation of Israel into being, and we believe that God had a hand in what happened in 1948, the incredible victory of the Jewish armies against all those Arab nations that came against them. We say it didn't happen by chance. We say it's the providential hand of God. So we as Christians see God's hand in that, and so we are very much inclined to, we're inclined in general to support Israel, and we defend fiercely Israel's right to exist, right? We say that. Now, what if somebody says, well, I don't look at it that way. I don't know the Bible. I don't know about this history. I don't know about this providential hand of God. Well, fine. Remember that less than a century ago, 80 years ago, there was a man in Germany who led a nation that spent untold amounts of money trying to wipe the Jewish people from the face of the earth. And he was successful to this extent that he basically erased Judaism from Germany and from Poland and from other European nations, so that 6 million Jews died during the Holocaust. If somebody hates the Jewish people that much, and then they become a democratic nation in the Middle East, it makes perfect sense. From the days of Truman, going through Eisenhower and Kennedy, all the way on up to Donald Trump, Democrats and Republicans, though we disagree on so much, Tim, Americans generally have said Israel is our number one ally in the Middle East, and we ought to stand by her and defend her as much as we can. One other thing, does that mean we have to agree with everything Mr. Netanyahu says? No. Does it mean we have to agree with every military decision or every particular policy?
Right.
No. But our general policy is right, that we are on the side of Israel, its continued existence, and its continued existence as a strong democratic state in the midst of the turmoil of the Middle East.
Amen, brother. And I think it's unfair for people. I think I've heard Tucker put it this way. Well, Tucker had to walk back his comments that he hated Christians who
were Christian Zionists.
Christian Zionists.
He hated them. Yeah. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mike Huckabee said, I have no idea that Tucker hated me. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
But Tucker did walk that back in the sense that Tucker's had to walk back a lot, quite frankly, because he says things in the heat of the moment in anger, and he admits to this, that he has to take back and walk back. You do that too many times, people just start saying, you're just not credible anymore because you're always having to walk back stuff.
Yeah, and you have the microphone. You know what you're about to go do, so you got more self-control in that.
Yeah, so he said he got angry, and he shouldn't have said that. I think he said something about the people I hate the most are Christian Zionists, or something like that, which would mean people like us, basically, who support the nation of Israel. And as Ray said, that doesn't mean you have to agree with every single policy.
Sure.
But we do stand by the right to exist of Israel, and their enemies want to wipe them off the face of the earth. They don't agree with their right to exist, such as Hamas, for example. Now, do we wish a better life for the Arab people there, the Palestinian people? Yes, we do, in Gaza. And I hope the fighting is over and the warfare is over, and somehow they can build although you've seen those pictures, that's just rubble. They're going to have to, they're going to have to spend 10 years trying to, rebuild physical buildings and streets and roads and schools and everything there in Gaza to have a decent life. But, the reason that Gaza's in rubble is because they wanted, because the Hamas butchered those people, and those Jewish people and some Christians too, on that fateful day, October 7th, a couple of years back. So that's what started all this military conflict, and that's why they're in rubble.
Yep.
So go ahead, Steve.
I know you guys talked last hour about the UN Security Council and the peace plan that they've got.
They've adopted the Trump peace plan.
They have.
Yeah.
Hamas has rejected this now and said that doesn't meet their expectations, so they're out, which is no surprise to anybody that's been watching. But if you want the Palestinian people in Gaza to have better lives, they have to get rid of Hamas. They cannot do this.
And Hamas is not in any position to negotiate any longer. They are pretty well. They've been pretty well squashed in terms of militarily by the Israelis.
But don't forget, they were voted into power in the first place, and from birth, Gazan children are taught to hate Israel and the Jews, and they are taught that. But
if they want a chance at a better life for themselves and their children and their children's children, they will stop fighting Israel and go with the Trump peace plan and try to have some money invested into their rebuilding of a country, maybe not a country necessarily, but an area, a region that they can call their own.
Don't be surprised if you learn that they don't want a better life.
I know.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. By the way, one other question about Tucker Carlson and Candace Owen. Who are then I know Ben Shapiro's, who are they, who's criticizing them on the right? Ben Shapiro's been pretty, and Mark Levin too.
Mark Levin,
of course, they're both Jews.
They're both, So you have that group that would be on the other side of things.
Right.
And then you have those that are in the middle of the war between the conservative sides on this, like Steven Crowder, Steven Crowder, he would be more so in the middle of trying to figure it out. He would say things such as, Steven Crowder.
You listen to him, don't you?
I listen to him quite a bit. He's one that would, for our listeners, he is a conservative Christian podcaster. He is a lot more free with his language and his way of communicating than we can do on AFR. Nonetheless, he ideologically, he's very close and aligned with our value, or we would share a lot
our worldview.
Our worldview. And what his position would be on this is, well, honestly, be very similar to what we communicated here. He does not like the idea of giving a lot of money to any country, including Israel, if they're misspending it. On the other hand, too, he doesn't mind asking questions about why Israel does certain things that they do, but he's not in the camp where if you do support them, that you, does that make sense? He would kind of be in between. He would ask questions, but he wouldn't be, but he also not just support Israel and close your eyes without question. So.
Next story, Steve.
All right. The House of Representatives is expected this afternoon to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act.
All right.
News? Epstein Files.
I love this story, man. I can't get me enough of Jeffrey Epstein story.
So, a bipartisan group of lawmakers has issued a discharge petition. It's going to the House
is it going to be discharged?
It's going to be discharged. It's going to be voted on in the House. Then it goes to the Senate. It's questionable what will happen in the Senate. But basically, it is to release another tranche of Epstein files.
How many files do we have? My goodness, we've been releasing them since what, a year ago or so? Release.
We're down to the point where obviously the files that include child pornography will never be released, and nor I don't think is anybody
child pornography.
A lot of the files are there are some child pornography pictures included in the Epstein files, Epstein's personal pictures, I guess. Those are, for obvious reasons, not going to be released. What's at issue now, I think what they're debating now is some of the names in the files that are going to be released, maybe business associates of Jeffrey Epstein, but never visited the island, were never linked to any of the sexual misconduct that he did. And if you...
Why? All right, help me out here, because I've tried to follow this story, and I'm tongue in my cheek when I say this Jeffrey Epstein story, I wish it would go away, okay? But I know why it doesn't, okay? Just for people who don't know, this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, was a New York socialite, right?
I think that's fair.
He had a lot of money, and he hung out with all the celebrities. I say all. I mean, he was in that New York social life circle, right?
Right. Keep going.
All right. So Jeffrey Epstein was his name, and everybody knew who he was, and he ran around town. And anyway, he was friends with all the. And Donald Trump was in that camp. He was a New York mogul, socialite, real estate developer, had a #1 hit TV show. So there are pictures of this. He hung around Jeffrey Epstein like Bill Clinton hung around Jeff Epstein, although Bill Clinton hung around him more, evidently. So I'm just talking about all these people. They a lot of the names, celebrities you would recognize, they ran in this circle of New Yorkers. Parties and events and TV shows and all this stuff. Anyway, so, but he was busted. Jeffrey Epstein was busted for pedophilia and trafficking. Am I right?
Yeah, it's what's pederasty?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's pedophilia. They didn't have any young children, but there were underage girls, teenage girls.
Yeah, and he had an island in the Caribbean that he went to.
Right.
All this is documented, and he got sent to the federal pen.
Yep.
For this, and then he died mysteriously.
He committed suicide. He said with scare quotes.
All right, so people say, well, he either committed suicide or somebody killed him.
Right.
Because if somebody killed him, they didn't want him talking.
Right.
From prison about other people who may have been involved with him that could have been part of a shadow government, right? This is where the conspiracy and this is where the whole story. This is why, basically the people who want the Epstein files, such as they are, released from the FBI, they would say, I want to know, or America needs to know, who got money from Jeffrey Epstein, who he hung around, and how influential it was on politics and the White House and our government. Is that right?
Yeah. And why is it in the news again? Because we thought we'd been, like you say, they've released records of records. Well, you remember the shutdown happened, and guess who lost? The Democrats lost the shutdown issue when it was reopened, and so they pivoted immediately towards, they released some documents. Ray, they had masked the name of a victim, which we've come to find out is a victim, a person who said that Donald Trump was innocent, so that's why they masked the name.
Innocent of what?
Innocent of any wrongdoing with regard to sexual misconduct.
Oh, yeah.
So the Democrats seized on this as a way to divert attention for the fact that they lost the shutdown debate, Ray.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you. You got a quote from Chuck Schumer?
I do.
Okay.
Chuck, yeah.
Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, a Democrat, was asked what President Trump has brought up the subject related to this, that if there's anything that he had done wrong, the Democrats would have released it when Biden was in office, right?
Right.
And that's a very strong point.
And Biden had access. The Biden administration had access to all of these files. The whole
Biden didn't know he had access.
No, but
he
his
didn't know.
FBI did.
Well, he didn't know what he had for breakfast. Sadly,
but
anyway,
Comey and everybody else knew had access.
So
to
if
files.
they had something on there that was on
Trump
or
anybody,
Trump.
because the Democrats controlled the White House and the Justice Department. So if they had stuff. They had the Epstein files.
Yeah.
If they had stuff on Trump, they would have released it prior to him running for office.
You have to believe they were looking for anything to tar and feather.
So this is what Chuck Schumer was asked yesterday, and he doesn't even know who. Go ahead.
Chuck Schumer was asked at a press conference why they didn't call for the release during the Biden administration. Why didn't Biden release the files? This is how he answered that. Cut 12.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Hey,
did he not hear the question?
No, he already had a predetermined statement. That's what that was. He already had his statement out, and he was ready to go.
So he sounded like he's saying, "What is Biden hiding?"
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Which is a good question.
Which is like he said, it's a fair question, and all the Americans.
We're all asking.
Yeah.
You asked me if there were any follow-up questions. I looked and looked and looked and could not find any record of any follow-up questions. I couldn't even find that particular press conference. But I don't know if there was.
It's my opinion. Now, I'm not going to help those that are conspiratorial here, because on this one, I'm not so much. I think that there are times that you can't release things for legal reasons, and I believe that those that are in charge of this issue or these files, that if they thought there was something that would be incriminating to anyone, that they would do. I think this only serves to protect those that we mentioned this morning in the show meeting, protect those whose names on the list for different reasons, and for people to prevent people from ruining their
If you
lives.
did a business deal with Jeffrey Epstein that had nothing to do with the sexual misconduct, and your name appeared on the list, all of a sudden now your name is linked with JeffreyEpstein. That could really harm business,
especially at this point in the story.
Yeah. Okay, we're out of time. We thank you for yours, folks. Thanks for listening to today's issues here on American Family Radio. Steve, thank you.
My pleasure.
Wesley, thank you.
Yes.
Ray, appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks.
And our thanks to Chris Woodward, Tony Vitagliano, and Dr. Ian. I treat shark bites day.
By day, by night.
He treats shark bites by day and night, he said, who joined us from Cocoa, Florida. All right, have a great afternoon, everybody. Stay with us. Keep listening to American Family Radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family